Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Ted Turner. Success leaves clues, kids. I just named 5 of the greatest names in business in the last 150 years. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as nails. Where does that leave you? I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years. You're not willing to do anything. You're not willing to sacrifice anything to be a high-performance person.
I don't want to be like that.
No, most people don't.
I want to be liked.
Yeah, well, see, you want to fit in. I'm the only speaker that you're ever going to hear that really, with all his heart, doesn't give a shit. If I leave here you liking me, I did something wrong.
Look, I'm exhausted. Had it all figured out and I lost it. They say that's the cost, but it just feels like a lot. Stop, are you going or not? I miss certainty. Miss the 9 to 5s, knowing exactly where I need to be and why I'm not built for this. Progress moves in slow motion. They're out making money and getting promotions, saying all the right things, pulling all the right levers while I sit here, write my future self love letters. Who's winning? Is this the end or beginning? 'Cause I'm starting to feel like reality's slipping, and bank accounts, they aren't very forgiving, and life on edge feels like falling, not living. If effort brings victory, what am I missing? Nothing good comes easy. When we have to, we push through, not knowing completely. You're here because you're made for this next level, taking these places that most people won't. Start embracing it. Who cares what they do? They're not you. You'll go through more now than you think you're supposed to, but that shows you can cope with the highs and the lows, because you rose to be more. Could have run away, could have avoided the thorns, could have been comfortable. Blood, sweat, and tears, they're expendable. No more pretending, man, build something memorable. Don't drink from their cup or by stories they tell, because when all their time's up, you'll have dug your own well. You didn't use lifelines, you're topped off for a lifetime, so drop all those one-liners. We'll get them next time. No, this time is your time, and whatever you decide will end up being real life. No stop signs, just storylines. This whole thing is a misunderstanding, a miscalculation. Jumped and missed the landing. I'm mystified, I can waste so much time. These ovations are strictly imagination, not standing. So much for planning, guess fate left without me. Those failure statistics, yeah, they'll be about me. Was overly optimistic, forgot the logistics. Guess we all learn sometime, don't we? Good is not good enough. No, how long do I stay down before I let go? I buried my pride and took it inside, but never enough. It takes a toll, it gets old getting told you've got miles of road left to go. You're alone with this future unknown. Just go home. Just go home, it's safe there. Yeah, I'll find some embrace there. Look, it's time to admit defeat, a humble retreat. Check the box and complete to my core. Intrinsically, it's not for me, I can't do this. I knew this is how it would be. No fame, no fortune, no names on marquees, just running in place every day on repeat. This is the world I want to see, where everything's taken with no guarantees. No, come on, man, pick your head up. Go back inside, half a life's learning to get up. How can I make you see that you have everything you need, and what you want to be is never out of reach? Fate deceives sometimes, but destiny's calling, so can't let the phone ring. You know there's no all-knowing. Go level up, no letdowns. Let the world in, push fear out. It's self-belief, it starts right now. When hell freezes, you lay down. Until then, it's your town, it's your story, it's your crown. Live in the clouds, feet on the ground. They stand still, you run around. Go mesmerize, or they socialize. There's dollar signs to be maximized. If you live it right, regret nothing. Loud applause, the sweetest sound, and this moment won't happen again, and never becomes forever unless you choose to begin. So see greatness in each step, and power and progress. Your future, yeah, that's limitless, it's infinite. Don't forget you want this.
Be the kind of trader who sees the big picture. The world is changing around you. Global threats push gold, the safe haven asset, to higher prices each and every day. Now's your chance to start trading gold. Just go to capex.com and register to get up to a $5,000 bonus on your first deposit. Simply use Gold5000 as a promo code and you're good to go. Capex.com, proudly welcomes you to the next level trading experience. Register now and start taking full advantage of the new gold rush. Terms and conditions apply. Exposure to gold obtained via contracts for difference, which are leveraged products and incur a high level of risk. Capex.com is operated by JME Financial Services, Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services provider.
The champ is here! 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 Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and I do apologize for starting about 5 minutes late with today's show, as with Trump story and also the market that are actually moving in a very positive momentum. Now, there's two things that actually affects this whole thing today. It is one, it is the general administration knowledge that Joe Biden is the apprehend winner of the presidential elections and start the transition of power. So Trump released actually a statement last night in which we will go over it by saying actually he's now, he's complying with the transition of power with Joe Biden, but he is still not stopping the investigations regarding the case. Now, it's taking actually quite a toll because obviously he needs to get everything sorted out before the 14th of December, because that is where the president-elect will actually now sit his feet into the White House, and all the ceremonies and everything will start actually in January. So he needs to actually now push this whole case together, and basically he's on its own. He's totally on his own with this case, as a lot of people in the Democratic Party is now moving away from these theories of Trump, as they say, these theories, and they said obviously the evidence that Trump has is bogus. And with the lady, I think her name is Powell or something, where she was explaining about a conspiracy theory, and which she actually did say that she has some evidence regarding this, where outside forces had influence actually on the Trump elections. Now, the big story actually is that a lot of people and investors are actually getting tired of this whole entire story. And I think there's some sort of a fatigue that is going on, and people just want to see actually a Donald Trump actually go out of office. Now, I feel sad for the guy, but obviously we will definitely miss him, as he was really a remarkable president. Look, as I said the last time, if we were voted for a next Jesus, then it's something else. But we were the American people were voting for actually a next president, a human being. So obviously there will be mistakes with him. But all in all, with building the wall, building the military, getting the economy going, getting the unemployment rate down, all of those things, he did achieve what he promised. And that is actually, for me, most important, is actually of what you promise. You stick to your promise and you deliver it. That's it. I don't care about your personality or anything of that sort. As long as you say that, listen here, I'm going to build a wall, I'm going to get the economy going. That is what you said, and that is what President Trump did. But I must say the whole COVID story took him totally out of this whole race. Now, I'm not saying he lost the presidency, but the COVID story made this whole, I would say, elections wide open. For one, as he claimed, for criminality, with people now can infiltrate the elections. Now, there's a lot of things that are going on, but surely President Trump will not give up, and I think he must not give up, because obviously there will be a dark cloud over President-elect Biden if he actually don't solve the story. Although he has the media on his side, but believe me, the media can change on you very quickly if they don't like things of what he's doing. Because look, there's a lot of things and a lot of errors that Joe Biden has in his manifesto. As one is that 7.3 trillion package that he has available. I mean, 7.3 trillion is quite a lot of money. So which means he needs to borrow that money. 7.3 trillion is a massive, massive amount. Now, because of that, the market is totally in the green. The Dow Jones is up, the futures actually is up by 1.5, S&P 500 is up by 1%, the Nasdaq slightly slow with a 0.43, the Nikkei is actually up, the Asian stocks was up this morning, and the Nikkei was up by a 2.5%. The European stocks was also in the green. FTSE is up by a 1%. DAX is up by 1%. The French CAC is also up by 1%. And maybe there will be potential for the Nasdaq to actually to climb further because of the news of the transition of power. Now, the transition in power means that it's just that he's complying with everything. It's not that President Trump is giving up on everything, on the cases and all of those things. He's not giving up. Only thing is, he actually just needs time to gather all his evidence with Rudy Giuliani and everything to go to the courts, because there's obviously a lot of time that is consuming running the country and at the same time also trying to solve his case issues. Now, I don't think the president will give up. I think this battle will be long, and I must say this actually just lead to more uncertainty with this whole transition of power. But there's also other things that I will need to highlight with you with the market. One, it is that the former Federal Reserve Chair, Justine Helen, is actually nominated to become the next Treasury. So if you guys know Janet Yellen, which actually were in power of the Federal Reserve, or the first woman actually that was in charge of the Federal Reserve since 2014 until 2018, when she did not actually were re-elected for a second term by President Trump. So she's actually nominated to be or to become the next treasurer of the United States. Now, the market were actually very happy regarding the story. I don't know, will she fit in with Joe Biden's massive spending on the U.S. economy? But I will just take a short break, and then I'll be back with you with some more information regarding the markets.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Look, I'm exhausted. Had it all figured out and I lost it. They say that's the cost, but it just feels like a lot. Stop, are you going or not? I miss certainty. Miss the 9 to 5s, knowing exactly where I need to be and why I'm not built for this. Progress moves in slow motion. They're out making money and getting promotions, saying all the right things, pulling all the right levers, while I sit here, write my future self love letters. Who's winning? Is this the end or beginning? 'Cause I'm starting to feel like reality's slipping, and bank accounts, they aren't very forgiving, and life on edge feels like falling, not living. If effort brings victory, what am I missing? Nothing good comes easy. When we have to, we push through, not knowing completely. You're here because you're made for this next level, taking these places that most people won't. Start embracing it. Who cares what they do? They're not you. You'll go through more now than you think you're supposed to, but that shows you can cope with the highs and the lows, because you rose to be more. Could've run away, could've avoided the thorns, could've been comfortable. Blood, sweat, and tears, they're expendable. No more pretending, man, build something memorable. Don't drink from their cup or by stories they tell, because when all their time's up, you'll have dug your own well. You didn't use lifelines, you're topped off for a lifetime, so drop all those one-liners. We'll get them next time. No, this time is your time, and whatever you decide will end up being real life. No stop signs, just storylines. This whole thing is a misunderstanding, a miscalculation. Jumped and missed the landing. I'm mystified, I can waste so much time. These ovations are strictly imagination, not standing. So much for planning, guess fate left without me. Those failure statistics, yeah, they'll be about me. Was overly optimistic, forgot the logistics. Guess we all learn sometime, don't we? Good is not good enough. No, how long do I stay down before I let go? I buried my pride and took it inside, but never enough. It takes a toll. It gets old getting told you've got miles of road left to go. You're alone with this future unknown. Just go home. Just go home. It's safe there. Yeah, I'll find some embrace there. Look, it's time to admit defeat. A humble retreat. Check the box and complete to my core. Intrinsically, it's not for me. I can't do this. I knew this is how it would be. No fame, no fortune, no names on marquees. Just running in place every day on repeat. This is the world I want to see, where everything's taken with no guarantees. No. Come on, man, pick your head up. Go back inside half a life's learning to get up. How can I make you see that you have everything you need and what you want to be is never out of reach? Fate deceives sometimes, but destiny's calling, so can't let the phone ring. You know there's no all-knowing. Go level up, no letdowns. Let the world in, push fear out. It's self-belief. It starts right now. When hell freezes, you lay down. Until then, it's your town. It's your story. It's your crown. Live in the clouds, feet on the ground. They stand still, you run around. Go mesmerize, or they socialize. There's dollar signs to be maximized. If you live it right, regret nothing. Loud applause, the sweetest sound. And this moment won't happen again, and never becomes forever unless you choose to begin. So see greatness in each step and power in progress. Your future, yeah, that's limitless. It's infinite. Don't forget you want this.
Be the kind of trader who sees the big picture. The world is changing around you. Global threats push gold, the safe haven asset, to higher prices each and every day. Now's your chance to start trading gold. Just go to capex.com and register to get up to a $5,000 bonus on your first deposit. Simply use GOLD5000 as a promo code and you're good to go. Capex.com proudly welcomes you to the next level trading experience. Register now and start taking full advantage of the new gold rush. Terms and conditions apply. Exposure to gold obtained via contracts for difference, which are leveraged products and incur a high level of risk. Capex.com is operated by JME Financial Services, Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services provider.
Getting your business funded is a lengthy process with the banks, and it can take weeks before getting an answer. ProfitFX works with the best in the finance industry to bring you an unrivaled business funding solution for South African businesses. Our funding partners have funded millions in the last year in support of growing your business and our economy. Get in touch with your talk show host to request more information. A trade history of 3 years or more and an annual turnover of 1 million rand or more is required. Terms and conditions apply.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing actually today's show, which is now the market is in the green as Trump was now complying with the whole story of the transition of power. Now, on the markets, now that is the thing that we are mostly interested in. Now, on the market, the commodities are actually in the green. Oil is in the green, especially the crude oil, Brent, gas, gasoline, heat oil, everything is in the green. Gold, on the other side, is getting actually a hemorrhage because obviously it is the transition of power, and it looks like things are coming down in the United States. So gold is actually down by actually 1.4%. And also the other thing that I said, it is also the vaccine where a third pharmaceutical company came on stream, actually now also declaring that they have actually a very good vaccine of 90% success rate. So that also put a gold on the back foot. Now, I can tell you now that gold will go further down for today, and silver as well. Silver is also down, but nearly 2% down. Platinum is also down with a 0.1%. Now, the industrial stocks, which is now industrial commodities, oil, and those things are up. But gold as the safe haven is actually down as the vaccine prospect of the vaccine to get rolled out very quickly. So, but on the other side, there's something that's actually happened last night. Actually, something very sinister, and that's why I was actually doing this show today. That is more based on the U.S. election. I will get now to the vaccine, but it's more based on the transition of power, actually. And this is something that I spoke about yesterday. And that is actually the story of Bitcoin. People that move towards Bitcoin and actually very rapidly fast also. Now, Bitcoin started to move more aggressively by end of September, I would say October. I would say beginning of October, Bitcoin was moving actually in a very good direction. Now, for me, it is actually funny because there was a lockdown, central banks went nuts, gold went up, everything went up basically. Okay, a lot of things go down, so you would think that Bitcoin would behave as a safe haven, but it did not go up. That's why I said yesterday, what is Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin more based on a safe haven status, or is Bitcoin based on commodities? What? Nothing. So I actually came to the conclusion when I finished, and I said it's more based on politics and governments, that people don't trust governments anymore, and people rather will buy Bitcoins to get away from central banks and government. And the thing is that last night actually, when this whole letter was actually posted, and the news got hold of it, even I got a hold of it, and that is where Bitcoin started to move. When this whole thing came out, that transition of power is actually happening. So that is where Bitcoin started to move in the right direction upwards, and it surpassed the 19,000 mark as we speak. And yesterday it was about 18,000, and it's really now moving to 19,000. And I think Bitcoin has the potential to even go further up. Now, even though gold is going down, or that is now all based on a vaccine and everything, you would think that Bitcoin would also go down based on this vaccine, but that's not the case. Since last night, with this whole transition of power, or Trump complying with the transition of power, Bitcoin start to move upwards. It's literally a clear indication that the people don't trust the government or the current government that is now gonna control power in the White House. And as I explained yesterday, the same applied with Barack Obama. When Barack Obama came into office and when the central bank went nuts and printed a lot of money, that is where Bitcoin actually was invented, because people did not trust anymore the Federal Reserve and the U.S. government anymore, and the people were seeking for an alternative. And that is where Bitcoin was created in 2009. The same thing is happening today. Now, as I explained to you also yesterday, you would see that Bitcoin actually fell down from 20,000 to 3,000, and it actually I would say it was hovering around the 5,000 and 10,000 mark the whole time during the Trump reign. The moment when things were looking that Trump is going to lose the elections, or there will be shenanigans regarding the elections, people were moving back to Bitcoin, and with aggression. So it just shows you clearly. And yesterday, the same thing happened when I was reading about the whole transition of power. People were starting to buy Bitcoin in droves. And now Bitcoin is sitting, and yesterday it was sitting at about, I just want to make sure, because when I was doing the show yesterday, it was sitting at around 18,000 yesterday. I think, it was sitting at about 18,000 yesterday, just over 18,000. And now today it's sitting at 19,000. I just want to see what is the move for today. Just for today, Bitcoin against the US. Bitcoin against the US moved at about 3.2%, which is a massive move. With 3.2%, Bitcoin with the euro actually moved with 2.5%. So it just shows you that the people just don't trust the government anymore. And that is where people were moving away from the United States dollar, and people are actually now into Bitcoin. And that's what I told you yesterday, is rather to get your portfolio ready in Bitcoin. On the other side, the dollar in this regard is actually down by a 0.26%. So even with all this nonsense of obviously the vaccine is there, so people are moving away from your safe havens, but it looks like people prefer rather Bitcoin. Normally people would go in for gold, but because of the vaccine story, people just ignore it. People are rather into Bitcoin, and that's why Bitcoin is now sitting at 19,000. And I'm definitely sure, as I said yesterday, although the psychological point is actually surrounding the 20,000 mark, I think maybe there's point for a correction, but I think it will be just a short correction, maybe to 17,000 or 15,000 or so. I doubt we will see another one at 3,000. I think maybe at 17,000 or so, but then it will just go back up again. I think it will definitely be over the 20, basically over the 20,000 mark, because people. I think personally, the people that are in Bitcoin is literally more afraid of this I would say, a more communist style of doing business in the United States, because you look, healthcare, they're going to push this narrative of public healthcare in the United States, or free healthcare for the United States, as Joe Biden said, it is a right to get healthcare. That's ludicrous. That is pure socialism that goes on there. And also the thing is about student debt that needs to get written off, where he said he will also assist there. I mean, how the hell will the banks handle that debt when it get written off? I mean, there's over 4.5 trillion of debt that needs to get written off. That's a bit crazy. And there's some parts of the United States that goes back into lockdown, even though a vaccine is on the horizon. And that is the main reason, because people don't trust governments anymore, and that's why people are moving into Bitcoin. So I'm telling you now, the best bet now is to get your Bitcoins and sit on it. It's not something, it's just there to protect your value. As the world moves more away from your old traditional way of banks controlling your money and all of that, people want to have their own freedom and their own choices, and that's why people are going into Bitcoin. I will actually go more into this as the show progresses, but one thing for sure, yesterday was a clear indication to me. When that letter was released, people were moving in droves into Bitcoin. As I just explained, the market moved about 3.2% just in one day move with Bitcoin. So the people are really serious to protect their freedoms and to protect their money. I will just take a short break, then I'll be back with you with some more information.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Look, I'm exhausted. Had it all figured out and I lost it. They say that's the cost, but it just feels like a lot. Stop, are you going or not? I miss certainty. Miss the 9 to 5s, knowing exactly where I need to be and why I'm not built for this. Progress moves in slow motion. They're out making money and getting promotions, saying all the right things, pulling all the right levers, while I sit here, write my future self love letters. Who's winning? Is this the end or beginning? 'Cause I'm starting to feel like reality's slipping, and bank accounts, they aren't very forgiving, and life on edge feels like falling, not living. If effort brings victory, what am I missing? Nothing good comes easy. When we have to, we push through, not knowing completely. You're here because you're made for this next level, taking these places that most people won't. Start embracing it. Who cares what they do? They're not you. You'll go through more now than you think you're supposed to, but that shows you can cope with the highs and the lows, because you rose to be more. Could've run away, could've avoided the thorns, could've been comfortable. Blood, sweat, and tears, they're expendable. No more pretending, man, build something memorable. Don't drink from their cup or by stories they tell, because when all their time's up, you'll have have dug your own well, you did it. Use lifelines, you're topped off for a lifetime. So drop all those one-liners, we'll get them next time. No, this time is your time, and whatever you decide will end up being real life. No stop signs, just storylines. This whole thing is a misunderstanding, a miscalculation. Jumped and missed the landing. I'm mystified, I can waste so much time. These ovations are strictly imagination, not standing. So much for planning, guess fate left without me. Those failure statistics, yeah, they'll be about me. Was overly optimistic, forgot the logistics. Guess we all learn sometime, don't we? Good is not good enough. No, how long do I stay down before I let go? I buried my pride, took it inside, but never enough. It takes a toll, it gets old getting told you've got miles of road left to go. You're alone with this future unknown, just go home. Just go home, it's safe there. Yeah, I'll find some embrace there. Look, it's time to admit defeat. A humble retreat, check the box and complete to my core. Intrinsically, it's not for me, I can't do this. I knew this is how it would be. No fame, no fortune, no names on marquees. Just running in place every day on repeat. This is the world I want to see, where everything's taken with no guarantees. No. Come on, man, pick your head up. Go back inside, half a life's learning to get up. How can I make you see that you have everything you need, and what you want to be is never out of reach? Fate deceives sometimes, but destiny's calling, so can't let the phone ring. You know there's no all-knowing. Go level up, no letdowns. Let the world in, push fear out. It's self-belief, it starts right now. When hell freezes, you lay down. Until then, it's your town, it's your story, it's your crown. Live in the clouds, feet on the ground. They stand still, you run around. Go mesmerize, or they socialize. There's dollar signs to be maximized. If you live it right, regret nothing. Loud applause, the sweetest sound, and this moment won't happen again, and never becomes forever unless you choose to begin. So see greatness in each step, and power in progress. Your future, yeah, that's limitless, it's infinite. Don't forget you want this.
Be the kind of trader who sees the big picture. The world is changing around you. Global threats push gold, the safe haven asset, to higher prices each and every day. Now's your chance to start trading gold. Just go to capex.com and register to get up to a $5,000 bonus on your first deposit. Simply use GOLD5000 as a promo code and you're good to go. Capex.com proudly welcomes you to the next level trading experience. Register now and start taking full advantage of the new gold rush. Terms and conditions apply. Exposure to gold obtained via contracts for difference, which are leveraged products and incur a high level of risk. Capex.com is operated by JME Financial Services, Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services provider.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing actually now the whole vaccine story and also Trump that is actually complying with the transition of power. Now, to Joe Biden, also with the case of Donald Trump, as we all know, there's still a heavy investigation that still goes on there. And it's just funny enough, the FBI is just totally gone. But with the markets, it is for me, it is, I can tell now, it looks like the market don't trust this whole story with the transition of power, and Trump still talking about investigations and still holding on to his cases. So there's still uncertainty that's gonna come. That I can assure you. So don't get relaxed with today with the greens that the green that is all over the show, whether it's commodities or it is on the Nasdaq or on the Dow Jones. The green is there, but that is all based on the vaccines. That is all based on that. The thing is, for me personally, is the story last night where people starting to buy Bitcoins, and also where Joe Biden actually nominated the former federal chair, Justin Yellen, as his secretary. Now, I'm just not sure why he did that. Maybe because he's a female, but if I look at the way how Justin Yellen was actually handling the Federal Reserve. It was more of a close hand approach. What I mean by that is actually she was more of a hawk. She raised interest rates. She loved to raise the interest rates. And also she trimmed down the stimulus of the Federal Reserve by giving to the banks. Now, obviously, the economy was recovering, but it was not a fast recovery. It was not a Trump recovery. It was a very slow recovery that happened under Barack Obama. And she actually were cutting back on the asset purchase programs. She also raised the interest rates gradually, and that actually created a strong dollar under her reign. The dollar actually moved up from 92 and it moved up actually to about 100. That is now the dollar index. Now, if you look at Joe Biden's approach for the US government, he's a more open-handed approach where he actually wants to spend about $7.3 trillion into the economy, healthcare, the Green Deal, and all this other nonsense that he wants to spend money on. But then, on the other hand, he's selecting a treasurer that is not, she's an economist. Let's start there. She's an economist. And most economists that I know, they are very tight when it comes to money. They as I know, when it comes to Justin Yellen, for that 4 years from 2014 to 2018, she was cutting left, right, and center, whether it was the asset repurchase programs, and what she did, she was so. I would say when it comes to the inflation target, where she wants inflation to be at 2%, the moment inflation were reaching 2%, she lifted up the interest rates. She didn't even check on the personal consumption expenditure or the core CPI. The moment CPI moved up to 2%, boop, she was lifting up the interest rates, and she was doing it, although she was doing it slowly, but I mean on a bad economy, you can't actually just raise interest rates as what had happened. I would understand under Powell, the current Federal Reserve chair, the economy was literally on fire under Donald Trump. He did tax cuts and push a lot of money through to family homes, now through tax cuts. He literally deregulated the economy. So that set the economy on fire. And with that, Powell was lifting up the interest rates. That made sense for Powell to lift up the interest rates, but not for Justin Yellen. She was lifting the interest rates, even though the Barack Obama economy was not actually pushing that hard through. Now, why he actually selected her as treasurer doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I saw the people giving praises on Twitter, even on Instagram, even on YouTube, and I just couldn't understand why he did that. And with that, I think that's why a lot of people were starting to buy Bitcoins, because this guy just doesn't make sense. Look, he's talking about $15 minimum wage. Trump was definitely ignoring the whole calls for minimum wage. You can't lift up minimum wages, or you can't lift up wages in general. Wages lift up himself. In normal economics terms, the moment the unemployment rate goes down and the market is actually performing quite well, then people, the worker, has room for himself or for herself to go look for another job, because the economy is on fire. That is where wages actually increases. Because if you are not happy with your boss, you say, listen here, I want a $2 increase or $15 increase or whatever increase, and your boss says no, and the economy is performing well, you have the room to leave your job and go search for another job without you stressing that you will never find a job because the economy is on fire. That is how wages increase automatically, not a government or a union that decide that they need to lift up wages. What normally happens in that situation where you lift up wages, you literally kill jobs. That is where Trump actually performed well with the manufacturing sector, because he allowed the economy actually to perform on its own. Now, this guy, now the transition of power is there, I don't know if Trump bluffing or what. Or maybe he just wanted to give us a taster of what Joe Biden's going to offer us. Because believe me, the market is already sketchy, because that's why they're moving to Bitcoins. Look, as I said, the only thing why the market is in the green today is all just based on the vaccines that are coming. And it looks good for the vaccines to arrive anytime soon. But for the policies of Joe Biden, that I totally don't agree on. On the other side also, you have, he wants to increase taxes on people. Well, I will go into detail more tomorrow on the show. It's just that transition of power, when it came in yesterday, the market, and also with Justin Yellen as the treasurer, the market behaved quite weirdly yesterday, where you just have people flying into Bitcoin. The other thing that I also looked at is the tax increases that he proposes, that he needs to raise taxes to get more money to spend on the economy. Listen, people are not pawns. People are definitely not pawns. You can't just think that you can regulate the economy or sign a bill, people will just behave in that parameters. It does not work like that. Or you do A, you will get B. No, it doesn't work like that. What I noticed is when that transition of power thing came through, where Bitcoin starting to move up, that was for me also another indication that people like, listen, or the rich was saying, hey, here's some heavy taxes coming. I'm not going to pay whatever amount of taxes that this guy wants to enforce on us. I'm just going to store my money into Bitcoins. And that's why in October, when there was an article, I think it was on Bloomberg, and then the same article was on a conservative paper in the United States, where a lot of rich people were looking at different options to save their money because of a Joe Biden victory. Two articles were very similar and saying that people are preparing for this Joe Biden victory. Look, the rich always have a lot of advisors around him. He can be the dumbest person in the world, but his advisors will instruct him to store money somewhere. Now, the guy in the street, or the normal worker who just want to work overtime, who just want to get extra money to do whatever he likes, build his house, send his kids to school and all of those things, he doesn't have that leverage by employing an army of advisors. So I think personally, and which I will go into detail tomorrow, that these guys are literally saying they're not going to tax me. And I know now the story of the communists. They will always come up, yeah, the rich don't care about people and all of those things. Listen, a lot of jobs was created under Trump. That is what the rich do. They created a service, or they invent something. It's in their heads. They invent something or do something, and they employ people. If you want to make laws very difficult for them to employ people, and on top of that, you want to put taxes on them, believe me, you will not get the result that you want. You will get people leaving your economy. People will buy yachts or whatever the case may be, but they will definitely not create jobs. Because one, you want to run the government and you want to run the economy, so do it then on your own. That is what an entrepreneur will say. This is the middle finger that I will give you. But you can't come dictate on my hard work what I must do with my money. That is what this whole thing is about. And as things stands, with the rate of how Bitcoin is flying, because the thing is, with Bitcoin, it does not go through the banks. That is what people must understand. It does not go through the government. So one, the banks are losing on bank charges. Two, The other thing is that the government is losing on revenue, and that is on sales revenue. In South Africa is known as VAT, and also on taxes. Now, under Trump, the tax bracket actually, not the tax bracket, the tax collections increased because he asked lower corporate taxes. So obviously people feel comfortable by using the dollar and obviously started their businesses and employ people. That is the result what you get when you lower taxes. Now, people think that by raising taxes, you will collect more taxes. Look, in South Africa, you can come study the South African Revenue Service. Yeah, it's very simple. You raise your taxes, people will look for other avenues to use their money. Send the money into Bitcoins or send the money out of the country. That is what the South Africans are currently doing. Or they will just sit on the money. That's why in South Africa, we're sitting with about over R1 trillion in savings of big corporates that don't inject this money into the economy because government wants to dictate policy. If you want to, you can have your policy, not a problem. But don't make your own things that you wake up with and think that this is how the economy must run. People run the economy. People start businesses. People become innovative on their own. If you want to disrupt that whole thing, this is exactly the result you will get, where people will move in the other direction. This is one of the hell of a scary story, and I think Trump is literally setting up this guy. I think so. Because I don't understand why Bitcoin is now flying all of a sudden 9,000. Look like it's no fear, but Bitcoin will actually look at the chart of Bitcoin. That thing is straight up. It's straight. It looks like an arrow. It's straight up. So there's definitely something wrong. And it's very funny, the media is not actually talking about it because they're all still drunk on Joe Biden. Believe me, the media can turn overnight against you. Because obviously they will now follow any sentiment. There was quite a nice article that I was reading about a politician in South Africa, what is her name? Helen Zille, where she said that the journalists become so lazy, they talk everything that what is on Twitter or on Facebook. They don't even do investigations anymore. They just talk anything or everything that is on social media. Social media is literally becoming the paper now. So you don't even have to look at TV anymore. You just can go onto Twitter and you will get the stories actually before the journalists. That's how lazy these people are becoming. Even when it comes to when it comes to the stocks, when it comes to central banks' decisions, you can just go to Twitter or to go to Facebook, and you will get everything on first hand. You don't have to wait for a paper or pay for a subscription on paper because these guys are just following the trends. And one thing that she pointed out quite nicely in this article is that because of paid adverts, the companies wants to put an advert on the article that's basically that get a lot of attention, and that is actually how they are making money now. That is what they are doing now. They just writing about the most popular statement on social media, and there they go. Whether it is business or whether it's normal politics, they just follow that trend. Whether it's racism and the Black Lives Matter nonsense, they just go onto that trail. Journalism basically is totally consumed nowadays. That's why I'm sitting here and doing my own podcasting, because they are just following the popular trend. And one thing for sure, people did not wake up as in yet when it gets to Bitcoin. These are definitely individuals with a hell of a lot of money that don't trust the story in the United States and starting to buy Bitcoin. But I will actually cover the story of Bitcoin more in detail tomorrow. But I think personally, whether Trump may be setting up Joe Biden or whatever the case may be, but I personally think that this story is long over. It will not be over actually between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, as he just needs time to actually compile his evidence and go on. I don't know what will be the situation in January, but it looks like this war was just getting started. Also, very importantly, I saw also in an article, I don't know if it's true, but Donald Trump was selling some of his luxury items he was selling off as in need that he needs money for these cases, as he's basically alone now fighting I can't even say the Democrats. He's actually basically fighting the whole entire world alone. Where is China? Where is the whole entire EU that hates Donald Trump just because he told them that they must pay for their military? But obviously they didn't like that. I don't understand that. But he's literally fighting the whole entire world on his own. But one thing for sure that you need to check out is actually Bitcoin. And I will actually have a show on that tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So that is it from my side. Please cash in the Bitcoin today, and also on the other parts of the market, which is the Dow and the oil. You can cash in, but please, the war is not over. So please be very careful. That's it from my side. Have a lovely day. See you guys.